JonBenét died accidentally.
Nearly 30 years have passed since the murder of 6-year-old JonBenét Ramsey became one of the most infamous unsolved crimes in modern American history. Yet despite decades of investigations, documentaries, books, and endless public debate, the mystery remains as haunting today as it was on that cold December morning in 1996. Some cases fade with time. This one never did. Perhaps it's because the crime seemed to defy logic from the very beginning. Or perhaps it's because every answer uncovered appeared to create two new questions. Whatever the reason, the death of JonBenét Ramsey continues to cast a long shadow over investigators, journalists, and millions of people who still wonder what really happened inside the Ramsey home. Christmas Day had appeared completely normal. The Ramsey family attended a holiday gathering with friends before returning home later that evening. It should have been the end of a joyful day. Instead, it became the beginning of a nightmare that would captivate the world. Just before 6 o'clock the following morning, Patsy Ramsey placed a frantic 911 call.
911 emergency.
Police.
What's going on?
515th Street.
What's going on there, ma'am?
We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please.
Explain to me what's going on, okay?
There's a note left and our daughter's gone.
A note was left and your daughter is gone? How old is your daughter?
6 years old. She's gone. 6 years old.
How long ago was this?
I don't know. I just found the note. And my daughter's
Does it say who took her?
What?
Does it say who took her?
I don't know. There's a ransom note here.
It's a ransom note?
It says SBTC. Victory. Please.
Okay, what's your name? Are you
Patsy Ramsey. I'm the mother. Oh my God. Please.
I'm sending an officer over, okay?
Please.
Do you know how long she's been gone?
No, I don't. Please, we just got out. Is she right here? Oh my God, please.
Okay,
Please, there's somebody.
I am, honey.
Please.
Take a deep breath,
Please,
okay?
hurry.
Patsy.
Investigation instantly transformed into a homicide investigation. Shock spread through the home. Investigators suddenly found themselves facing an entirely different scenario than the one described in the ransom note. If JonBenét had never left the house, then what purpose had the note served? That single question would become one of the central mysteries of the case. As news spread across the country, public fascination exploded. Television networks covered every development. Reporters descended on Boulder. Speculation became constant. People wanted answers, and yet the deeper authorities looked, the more complicated everything became. The physical evidence appeared to point in different directions. Certain details suggested an outsider may have entered the home. Other details raised questions about whether the truth could be found much closer to JonBenét's inner circle. Over the years, investigators examined handwriting samples, fibers, footprints, DNA evidence, witness statements, and countless theories. Every lead seemed promising for a moment before dissolving into uncertainty. The result was a case trapped between possibilities, a mystery frozen in time. Now, in 2026, renewed public interest and advances in forensic technology have once again placed the JonBenét Ramsey case under an intense spotlight. Researchers continue examining evidence, while experts revisit long-standing assumptions that shaped the original investigation. Some believe the answers have been there all along. Others fear critical mistakes made in the earliest hours of the case may have permanently obscured the truth. Before we continue, if you enjoyed deep dives into real-life mysteries and criminal investigations, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Crime After Dark, and leave a comment with your theory. Do you think investigators were looking in the wrong direction all these years? Because as experts began re-examining evidence once thought exhausted, they uncovered a series of disturbing questions that would reignite one of the most controversial investigations in history. And what those questions revealed was more unsettling than anyone expected. One reason the JonBenét Ramsey case continues to fascinate investigators nearly 3 decades later is because almost every major piece of evidence remains fiercely debated. Normally, after enough time passes, a clearer picture begins to emerge. In this case, the opposite happened. The more evidence people examined, the more uncertainty seemed to grow. At the center of that uncertainty sits one of the strangest documents ever associated with a major criminal investigation, the ransom note. The note immediately drew attention because of its length. Instead of a brief demand, investigators found multiple pages filled with unusual language and detailed instructions. Some experts believed the note contained clues to the killer's identity. Others argued it was designed to distract investigators from what had actually happened. The note's requested amount, $118,000, created even more questions. That figure reportedly mirrored a bonus John Ramsey had received through his employer. To many observers, this seemed far too specific to be coincidence. But coincidence or not, investigators could never definitively determine who wrote the note. Handwriting analyses produced conflicting opinions. Some experts believed certain individuals could not be ruled out. Others disagreed entirely. As years passed, the note remained one of the most controversial pieces of evidence in the entire case. Then there was the DNA. For supporters of the intruder theory, DNA evidence became one of the strongest arguments that someone outside the family may have been involved. Unknown male DNA was reportedly identified on items connected to the crime. To some, this appeared significant. To others, it raised entirely different questions. Could the DNA have come from innocent contact? Could it have been transferred during manufacturing or packaging processes? Or did it belong to the person responsible for JonBenét's death? The debate remains unresolved, and that uncertainty has fueled decades of disagreement. As forensic technology improved, public pressure grew for additional testing. Many believed modern methods might uncover details impossible to detect in the 1990s. Even the smallest biological trace can sometimes provide breakthroughs that completely transform an investigation. That possibility reignited hope. But hope often comes paired with frustration, because every promising lead seemed to encounter the same obstacle. Nothing was conclusive. Meanwhile, researchers began examining the timeline in greater detail. Who was awake? Who was asleep? Who moved through the house that night? Questions that seemed simple became increasingly complicated. Witness statements were reviewed repeatedly. Interviews were dissected. Small inconsistencies became subjects of enormous scrutiny. The basement became another focal point. Why was JonBenet found there? Was the location chosen deliberately? Did it suggest familiarity with the home's layout? Or was it simply a secluded area selected in a moment of panic? Each theory offered possible explanations. None offered certainty. As investigators revisited old evidence through a modern lens, they encountered another unsettling reality. Some assumptions that shaped the original investigation may not have been as solid as people once believed. When detectives first approach a case, they naturally develop working theories. Those theories help guide investigative decisions. But what happens if early assumptions turn out to be wrong? Could important evidence have been overlooked? Could critical clues have been interpreted incorrectly? Those questions continue to haunt this investigation. Because if the foundation was flawed, then nearly everything built upon it may deserve another look. Before we go deeper, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Crime After Dark, and tell us in the comments which piece of evidence you believe holds the key to solving this mystery. Because the deeper analysts dug into the records, the more they began noticing strange details that had remained hidden in plain sight for decades. And some of those details would challenge everything people thought they knew about the case. Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of the JonBenét Ramsey investigation is that even after nearly 30 years, no one can fully agree on what happened during the critical hours before her death. That uncertainty continues to fuel endless debate. Investigators spent years trying to reconstruct the timeline, every movement, every conversation, every minute. The challenge was enormous. Human memory is notoriously unreliable, especially during moments of stress and trauma. Yet in a case this significant, even the smallest discrepancy can become a source of intense scrutiny. As analysts revisited old interviews in 2026, many focused not only on what witnesses said, but how they said it. Changes in wording, differences in recollection, details emphasized years later that seemed absent from earlier accounts. These observations do not prove wrongdoing, but they do raise questions. And questions have always driven this case. Modern behavioral experts approach investigations differently than many specialists did in the 1990s. Rather than concentrating on isolated pieces of evidence, they often examine broader patterns of behavior: opportunity, risk, access, decision-making, post-crime actions. When viewed through this wider lens, old evidence can sometimes take on entirely new meaning. That possibility has fueled renewed discussions surrounding every major theory. The intruder theory remains popular among many observers. Supporters point to the ransom note, unidentified DNA, and indications that someone may have entered the home. Critics argue that certain elements seem difficult to reconcile with a stranger committing the crime. Others focus on theories involving individuals closer to JonBenét. Those theories have generated controversy for decades and remain fiercely disputed. The result is a case divided into competing narratives. Each side sees evidence supporting its conclusions. Each side highlights weaknesses in opposing arguments, and neither side has managed to establish certainty. That lack of certainty has allowed speculation to flourish. Television specials, books, podcasts, online forums. Millions of words have been written about what happened that night, yet the mystery remains. Perhaps because the case contains all the elements that grip the human imagination: a tragic victim, an affluent family, conflicting evidence, unanswered questions, and the possibility that someone has carried a devastating secret for nearly 30 years. What often gets lost amid the theories is JonBenét herself. A child, a daughter, a little girl whose future was stolen. The public fascination with the mystery is understandable, but at its core lies an unimaginable tragedy. A life ended before it truly began. And despite decades of investigation, justice remains elusive. Today, many experts believe advancements in forensic science may eventually provide answers that were once impossible to obtain. Technology continues evolving, methods improve, evidence can reveal information previously hidden from investigators. History has shown that cold cases once considered unsolvable and suddenly break open. The question is whether that will happen here. Before we continue to the final chapter, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Crime After Dark, and comment with one word that describes this case. Because as new generations discover the mystery of JonBenét Ramsey, investigators are being forced to confront a chilling possibility. What if the truth was never hidden? What if people simply failed to recognize it when they saw it? As 2026 unfolds, the JonBenét Ramsey case remains one of the most haunting unsolved crimes in modern history. Not because investigators stopped searching, but because the truth continues to remain just out of reach. Nearly 30 years have passed. Entire generations have grown up hearing about the mystery. And still, the central question remains unanswered. Who killed JonBenét Ramsey? The passage of time has changed many things. Technology has advanced. Investigative techniques have improved. Forensic science has reached levels once considered impossible. Yet despite those advancements, the case remains open in the minds of millions. Every year brings renewed calls for additional testing. Advocates argue that modern forensic methods could reveal information overlooked decades ago. Even the tiniest biological sample can sometimes unlock an entire investigation. History is filled with examples of cases solved years or even decades after the crime occurred. Those examples inspire hope. But hope is complicated, because time is both an ally and an enemy. While technology improves, memories fade, witnesses age, evidence deteriorates, opportunities disappear. Investigators must balance optimism with reality. Still, many experts believe there is reason to remain hopeful. Cold cases have a way of surprising people. Sometimes breakthroughs emerge from unexpected places. A forgotten document, a newly tested sample, decides to speak. A connection that nobody noticed before. What makes the JonBenét Ramsey case uniquely disturbing is that it exists at the intersection of tragedy and uncertainty. The victim was a child, the crime shocked an entire nation, and the mystery remains unresolved. Every theory contains unanswered questions. Every explanation leaves gaps. That uncertainty has allowed the case to endure long after most investigations would have faded from public memory. For some people, the mystery represents frustration. For others, it represents unfinished justice. and for investigators, it represents a challenge that refuses to disappear. Someone knows what happened. That possibility lingers over every discussion, every documentary, every renewed examination of evidence. Whether the truth resides within a forgotten clue, a future scientific breakthrough, or knowledge already held by someone somewhere, nobody can say for certain. But one fact remains unchanged. JonBenét Ramsey deserves answers. The search continues because it matters. Because behind every piece of evidence, and every theory, is a real victim, whose story remains unfinished. And perhaps that is why the case still captivates the world after all these years. Not because of the mystery alone, but because people continue hoping that one day, somehow, the mystery will end. Before you leave, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Crime After Dark, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe this case will finally be solved? Or do you think it will remain one of history's greatest unsolved crimes forever? Because somewhere within decades of evidence, theories, interviews, and unanswered questions lies a truth that has remained hidden for nearly 30 years. And when that truth finally emerges, it may be far more shocking than anyone ever imagined.